Do we have a? Oh,
Yep.
sir, how much? Vance, you open prayer for us. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not quite. We got to have one more. And we're going. Let's Annika. We're going to swear you in.
Don't know.
All right. We do have a sign-up sheet if anybody wants to sign up to speak to one of the bills we have on the agenda this morning, which that's House Bill 204, House Bill 208, House Bill 308, House Bill 368, House Bill 393, and House Bill 461. Now, that's an aggressive agenda. We might not get to all of them this morning, so we will do our best. We got going in session early, so we will get 8 o'clock. We need one more live body. And there we are. We do have 5. 1, 2, 3. We're good. We can get started. All right. I'm going to ask Chairman Smith if he will open in prayer for us. Y'all bow with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lord, thank you again for this beautiful day. And just thank you for the things that we're working on. Ask you to be with us, lead, guide, and direct us, and be with our families at home. We do appreciate being able to go home today, so give us safe travels. And thank you for your love for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, thank you for that. The first bill, we're going to do some more. House Bill 208, and it's Chair Lady Smith's bill. And this bill we passed out, and it had to do with the specialty tags for DNR, the ones for the state parks and one for the black bass. We had a Senate bill come over that had a couple bills on that we've added to this bill, so they'll be on this since they're revenue sharing plates as well. And the two we added is one for the Shepherd Center, and I see Abigail here this morning. But anyway, we added that. Would you like to say something about that, Abigail?
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Abigail Thompson Garcia. I'm Director of Government Relations and Advocacy for the Shepherd Center. So we appreciate the committee being open to amending Senate Bill 84. I think it's lines 14 and 15 onto House Bill 208. So this will create a revenue sharing specialty plate to benefit Shepherd Center. We're a catastrophic injury hospital. We specialize in the treatment and rehabilitation of spinal cord injuries and traumatic brain injuries, multiple sclerosis, and other neuromuscular conditions. So we are a homegrown state institution with an international presence, and we will be celebrating our 50th anniversary in August of this year. So all the proceeds from the specialty plate will go back to our foundation, which benefits our patients and their families, and covers everything that insurance doesn't. And so this will be a way to give back to our patients and to continue our mission of providing world-class care for them. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I don't see any questions. I know our chief of staff has got moved over there yesterday, I understand, and we pray I know he's going to get wonderful treatment there, so thank y'all for what y'all do. Y'all do great work there.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Then the other bill that was added was another Senate bill, but it has to do with the Georgia Veteran Service Foundation, and it's a plate for them in a line in there that the money will be dispersed to the Georgia Veteran Service Foundation, which is a great organization. So that's the two additions to Chair Lady Smith's bill. She asked if I would present that this morning, so now's the time. Have a motion, a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, bill passed. All opposed? None. All right, perfect. All right, the next bill we're going to hear is Chair Lady Cooper. She was the first one here this morning, and bright-eyed, and we're glad to have her this morning. So if she'll come to the table and bring her friends with her and tell us about 393. And I think we probably heard this last year as well, so we have previously heard this 393, and we.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the committee. Can I do a little bit of housekeeping first? First of all, I want to say there's nothing like the Shepherd Center. Our beloved Chief of Staff is now there, and he will get the best treatment possible in the country. So I cannot say enough good things about them. And the other thing is, Representative Mathis, I now have been told how to start looking toward us getting a veterinarian school. And if you'd like to go with me, because it's apparently a long process, I'll be glad to have you join me. Okay, back to, I bring you the substitute to House Bill 393, and if you look at me, you can tell that I am not a biker, and so I want to turn it over, if it's all right with the committee and the chairman, to T.J. Kaplan, and then he can introduce, you know TJ, and then I have the student from one of my best high schools, Carter Ray, who's the person who has brought this bill to my attention, and he would like to say a few words about it. Okay, go. Brief.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, members of the committee. Chairman, appreciate you having us here today. As you stated, we approved this bill last year. I'll go through a couple of pieces of it, and happy to take any questions. So this is a stop as yield bill. The purpose of that, which I should note is recommended by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, is to allow bicyclists who are approaching a stop sign at a four-way stop to slow down and proceed through the intersection if no pedestrian or vehicle is approaching that intersection. The statute has been enacted in a number of other states, including Idaho, Arkansas, Utah, North Dakota, and Oklahoma. Upon implementation, these states have seen a marked decrease in overall bicycle crashes of 14 to 23%. It's important to note that in Georgia, 21% of bicycle crashes occur at stop sign controlled intersections, which means that passage of this law gives us an opportunity to make meaningful gains in safety. Stop as yield serves three major purposes. First, bicyclists can get a head start through an intersection, read, get out of your way, and increase their visibility to drivers, particularly when a vehicle is intending to turn in the direction of the cyclist, which is where the vast majority of these crashes occur. This recognizes the significant differences in acceleration rates and size between a bicycle and a vehicle by allowing the bicyclist to get through the intersection while it is safe to do so before traffic catches up to them. Bicycles are most stable while they're in motion and become much more unsteady during stop-start procedures. I know this from personal experience. This law would allow bicyclists to leverage existing momentum when conditions are safe to maintain balance. The version of the bill that's in front of you makes a couple of very small improvements from the version that was passed unanimously by this committee last year. First, in Section 2, it requires cyclists to use hand signals. We believe this will increase safety, and have heard feedback from committee members and members of leadership on that. It also requires for a left turn the hand signal no less than 50 feet prior to completing the turn, unless conditions are unsafe to do so. And finally, it adds pedestrian on lines 26 and 30 to make it clear that bicyclists must yield to both types of road users at the intersection. And I should note that that is already covered elsewhere in code. We simply added this here to make it especially clear. I'll be happy to answer any questions, but as Representative Cooper mentioned, she has a constituent here who brought her this idea from my hometown of East Cobb.
Okay. Did you say what LC number we were working off on?
I'm sorry. LC 57024OS.
That's the one we have. I guess my question, you might have said it and I might have missed it. I was doing two things at one time here, but I apologize. But have other states passed similar measures to this and have seen? Yes.
Yes, sir. A number of other states have. I listed off a handful of those: Idaho, Arkansas, Utah, North Dakota, and Oklahoma.
Yeah, okay.
Every one of them has seen a marked increase in safety and a decrease in crashes from between 14 and 23%.
Yeah, I thought you said I was writing it at the time. I apologize. Thank you. We do have a couple questions. Number 21, Representative Ridley.
Thank you. So if this passes and the bicycle comes up to a four-way stop or a three-way stop, and there's cars there, they have to operate just the same. They'll have to come to a complete stop just
Yes,
like
sir.
they're in a car, all that.
100%.
Basically, this is saying if there's nobody there, they can kind of slow down and then go on.
Yes, sir. You got it.
And the data shows that more accidents happen when they actually stop and they get hit from behind. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
what we're saying? Okay. All right. Let's see. Number 17, Representative McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess, I guess every driver knows about these bicycle safety laws. I mean, I'm just trying to be sure that, they don't say, well, I didn't know. I mean, that's my question, I guess. Is that a question?
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to attempt to answer that. The organization that I represent, Go Georgia, goes to great lengths to assist in education. They partner with GDOT and the Governor's Office of Highway Safety to make sure that folks are well educated, and there are programs out there today existing on that matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's all I wanted to make sure, because I didn't want to be behind a cyclist and I didn't know and I thought he needed two hands, and I didn't know what he was doing. I don't know if he was waving at me.
That's twice this week you've promoted me to speaker. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right. Seeing no further questions, like I said, we did have this same measure, other than just a couple changes with the hand signals and adding pedestrian. Yes, you got somebody would like to speak.
Okay, this is the person. Mr. Chairman, this is Carter Ray. He's a constituent of mine, stopped me in my grocery store and said, "Are you my rep?" And then asked me if he could talk to me about this bill. He's a senior at Walton High School, which is one of the best high schools in the state, and the students are very involved in the government, as is Carter even beyond this. And so I will turn it over to Carter because he really is the author of this bill.
Good morning, representatives. My name is Carter Ray. I am a cyclist, and I bike to and from school each day. One of my passion areas is improving active transportation and mobility for people, so I brought this issue to the attention of my representative, Chairwoman Cooper, for this session. This bill was passed last year in committee unanimously, although unfortunately it died in rules. I'd like to give a quick summary of some of the studies that have been done on this bill, including one that was done over the past 2 years by the National Transportation Highway Traffic Safety Administration. This study concluded that stop-as-yield laws were associated with reduced crash rates, with reductions most prominent at suburban stop-controlled intersections. It also concluded that stop-as-yield laws do not significantly influence reckless bicycling behavior. Another study done by researchers at several universities found that bicyclists did not behave in unsafe ways under bicycling rolling stop laws. Finally, I would like to emphasize the positive impact this legislation has had in some of the other states that have passed this law. In Idaho, the first year after this law was passed, there was a 14.5% reduction in injuries among cyclists. Idaho first passed this law in 1982, and since then, 10 more states have done so, including Arkansas, North Dakota, Utah, Oklahoma. No state has repealed the law thus far, and there have been no indications that this law has increased injuries in any state. I'd be happy to answer any questions. If there are none, I'd like to ask for your favorable consideration for a hearing and a vote on this bill. Thank you very much.
All right, we do have a question number 2, Chairman Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for coming today, this morning. Now, my question, though, was, now, basically we're saying that they can run a stop sign.
Yes.
Okay, right. And then my next question is, are the cyclists required to have lighting on their bikes or things like that, so when they come to a stop, and I'm trying to think about motorcyclists as well, because they may, soon we're going to see probably the same thing come up from motorcyclists. So, talk to me about this. What does that cyclist provide? Because I see a lot of folks riding and they're slowing down, then they're just moving through.
Yes, sir. So I'll address the first part of the question first. So this would simply allow only in a situation where there is nobody in the intersection for a cyclist to yield, slow down and yield, and then proceed through the intersection. So if anybody's present, they cannot avail themselves.
So if someone's already there, or if someone's approaching, because
they cannot.
Approaching.
Correct.
Okay. Because a lot of times I see, just vehicles. A lot of them just do exactly what we're asking these cyclists to allow these cyclists to do. Thus, they may not see the cyclists as they're,
yes.
through. So, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, number 18.
I don't know if I have a comment or a question, but I want to congratulate you for being an outstanding student. It takes great, I would say, mental capacity to ride to school and ride back. I know you're in great health, so I commend you for that. But the best high school, Chairman, the best high school in Atlanta.
I think I could correct you if you want to go back and watch the thing. I said one of the best high schools in the state.
I stand corrected.
Representative Douglas, I think that would be for each member to determine for themselves. I'm studying. All right, and yeah, thank you for coming today. Yeah, very, very impressed with you, and Chair Lady Cooper better watch out in a few years.
He's not quite old enough yet.
All right.
I checked.
That's what I said, a few years, you better watch out. But anyway, what's the will of the committee? Do we have a motion and a second? All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. And
Thank you very much for having me today.
like that.
Have a good one.
So, and
Say aye.
appreciate your comment, letting me start first. Well, I have rules. Thank you again.
All right, thank you. All right, we have House Bill 308, which we had Tuesday, that I think the author of the bill has worked with DOR and come up with some language to have us a sub in our packet. So if he'll basically just explain what the changes to the bill from Tuesday. Just explain those changes for us, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you go to Section 10, that is the majority of where the changes are. After meeting with Department of Revenue, these vehicles coming online for this that would be approved are 25 years or older. They went back and looked and realized that falls under the antique. So they want to quantify or consider them antiques as far as an ad valorem tax. So every year they would be assessed at a value of $100, and then they would pay against their millage rate on a yearly basis. So that was the only change for this bill that Department of Revenue wanted.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Number 12, Representative
Thank you,
Taylor.
Mr. Chairman. No question, but I do want to say that I received several emails about this asking for support, and I was surprised. So I guess we're going to have the little mini cars, or mini trucks on the road. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
All right. What's the will of the committee? We have a motion. And do we have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
I'm good.
All right. Where did is Brad, Rob, is Brad out there? Yeah, I mean, this is a bill we've been working on for, they started last year working it, and they talked about it last year, but we never actually had a hearing on the bill. But I would ask Thomas if he'll come to the table and tell us about 461. And this is going to be since first hearing on this, first hearing only on this.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. I obviously want to bring ideas to the table, so this is one that had been floating around. Wayne here, he's one of my constituents in my district, and he approached me about some issues with motorcycles. I'm an avid vehicle enthusiast, although I'm more of a classic muscle car person than motorcycle. I always like the cage around me, but I appreciate my friends that share the passion of getting out and driving around. So I offered to carry this bill for Mr. Wayne, and he'll give you some testimony as well. House Bill 461 basically aims to amend Title 40, focusing on motor vehicles and traffic, and it introduces revisions to definitions and guidelines for the safe operation of motorcycles and bicycles at inoperative traffic signals. It mandates motor vehicle drivers to stop at crosswalks with activated rectangular rapid flashing beacons, which it defines in Section 2, and it prohibits the wrongful activation of these devices, removes some specifications and about motorcycle handlebar height, and I'm going to let Wayne explain that to you. So going through the sections, again, Section 1 just calls it Motorcycle Mobility Safety Act. Section 2 revises the definitions in Title 40 to include the term rectangular rapid flash beacon and recreational off-highway vehicle. Section 3 allows motorcycle and bicycle drivers to proceed through inoperative traffic signals under certain conditions. And Section 4 revises code section to require drivers to stop for pedestrians at crosswalks with activated beacons. And Section 5 has to do with the maximum height of motorcycle handlebars. Outside of that, that's just kind of the quick walkthrough of the bill. I'll be happy to take questions.
Okay, I guess First, have other states implemented this law, or has it passed this measure? Can you?
As of today, there's been 20 states that have passed similar laws to this.
Okay, that'd be good to have a list of those. I know this
do.
hearing on, if we could get that list, and then I guess the other, problem I might have, I see maybe on line 58, where this talks about the reasonable belief, the limited number of seconds. That would be, I think maybe instead of that or the number of changes, maybe reasonable number of seconds, and at least go through one cycle, because I know you can pull up on that loop and it's already further in the cycle, and it might go through. I think we might need to tighten that up where it's and you on there a reasonable amount of time and at least one cycle through the intersection.
Well, it says it has been stopped for a number of signal changes he or she's observed.
Yeah. I don't think it needs to be. You pull up on the loop and it's already past that in the cycle, so it's got to go through before it ever circles back to you. A specific number of cycles. I think you ought to set it at least through one cycle anyway to make sure
Correct.
that you just didn't pull up on the loop late and it already passed that phase.
We'll pick that up. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, number 2, Chairman Prince.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this basically allowing motorcycles to go through red lights as well?
No.
I mean, similar to the cycle.
Yes and no. Sometimes motorcycles don't trigger the signal.
I understand
so,
that, right. Now, what about the cars behind that motorcycle then?
I'm sure they're
depending on their weight as well, because I know some, smaller vehicles. And again, I'm just trying to make sure the consistency is here, and law enforcement, more than anything, it's not,
Thomas, can I help you out on that? The company I used to be a part owner, we did a lot of traffic signal work, and these loops you're talking about are 6 foot, and they call them a quad loop. It's 6 foot wide, 40 foot long. So most motorcycles are 6 feet.
Yeah, basically
so normally
6 to 8
if a car
feet.
is there, he's pulled up on the loop, and that normal will activate the loop if the motorcycle doesn't. So
normally that's what happens.
The car will pull up behind them, and it will activate the loop.
Exactly. And most of the time,
car will be sitting on the loop.
That motorcyclist knows to pull up. If that the motorcycle is usually the first one there, that's because I think that's what we're talking about.
Generally, yes.
He or she, being a motorcyclist, trained, know to sort of move up so that car can come up and trigger.
Correct.
That.
Correct. And that's generally what we do is we move forward to let the car onto that loop.
Right.
But we have, what we're concerned with is a lot of times we have to move into traffic to allow a car up.
Gotcha.
If you follow what I'm saying.
I do.
Number 17.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess being a motorcycle rider most of all my life, I've had those problems, but I want. I guess what I'm looking at is the height of the handlebars, because I thought we did something with the height of the handlebars.
We did, and that's why it's scratched out of it.
Speak into the microphone. Can you speak into the mic a little closer? I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. In 2016, when this bill was first introduced, the handlebar was in it. When Governor Deal vetoed it, this body actually modified the code section and approved the 25-inch above the driver's seat. Okay, that was in 2016.
Okay.
So that's already been addressed and changed.
Okay. That was.
What he's saying is it's scratched out here, and that's the question, because this is the existing law.
It is the existing law. Yeah, we don't want to change that law.
So we don't want to remove lines 90 through 92.
No.
Yeah, so we're going to.
Okay, I just want.
Yes.
This is a legitimate, because I had this, I'm sorry, let me speak into the microphone. Representative McLean, I actually had the same concern when we were going through a final review on this draft, and we're going to take lines 90 through 92, that Section 5 modification out, because I would agree with you that we don't want people with handlebars like this. That's not the intention, nor is it a safe way to operate a motorcycle. So we're going to remove it, and we'll have it for whenever, hopefully, we move this thing forward. But thank you for the comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, seeing no further questions, we will we make a few adjustments, get a sub, and we'll get you back on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee, for hearing this today, and appreciate the opportunity to have a conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Where we at now? 204. House Bill 204. Representative Washburn. And again, this is the first time we've heard this, so this will be a hearing only today as well. Yes. If you need to go to another, yeah, that'd be fine.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I'm here to present House Bill 204, which is LC 550367. I know you often hear that this is a simple bill, but this one is simple. It's only 2 pages, and it seeks to repeal the authority of the Department of Public Safety to establish reasonable rates, fares, and charges for transportation by motor carriers of household goods. Simply stated, it is proposing to remove any caps on fees that moving companies can charge to move household goods. And basically the argument is simple, that we need to let the free market work. And if they start charging too much, people will quit using them. So, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, that is the bill in a nutshell, is to free them to just let the free market work relative to their fees. The 2 things that you will notice is on page 2, there are 2 strikes where household goods is stricken from the law, which removes them from this control. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Okay. Has the Motor Carrier Compliance Division, if they weighed in on this at all, they have?
It is my understanding that they are perfectly fine.
Yeah, I've not heard anything, but that's why hearing only, I would like to get their viewpoint, and then the other thing. What are the rates set at now? Is it per mile that you get so much? Per mile?
I am not sure I can answer that question. Lee Lemke is here, who has asked me to carry this bill, and Lee might be able to address that. When we talked about it, there are a lot of small businesses now. Little small companies that have 2 men in a truck.
2 guys on the truck.
And so I think they are limited to, Lee, is it $85 an hour or something?
Mileage and time.
Mileage and time.
Yeah.
If it goes over a certain amount of miles, then it goes is a certain rate. Another one, 2 men in a truck, for instance, maybe $200 an hour for 2 men in a truck. But we are regulated by the state. We are licensed by the state. We want that to continue for safety reasons and making sure that our movers are insured. This is simply letting us go back to the
free market. I'm just curious why we ever did it this way to start with. Did anybody have a?
I think it was basically for protection of the consumer, and that's the way it started in many states. Many states have repealed this as well.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions? Seeing no questions,
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Thank you. All right, we had one other bill on here, but I don't know if the author of the bill is here. Sharper. I don't. Yeah, you can speak to it. Yes, I mean if you want to. 368.
House Bill 368, basically what it does, it allows, during a traffic stop, an officer to ask for, of course, their license, and then after that, tell why he or she is making the stop. Basically, that's basically all this. What violation or what am I pulling you over for? Just letting that person know, and then it just goes on for that. But again, it's after they've shown the license and things like that. Then they can, and it's not, and they can request it if the officer doesn't do it. But the officer would be trained basically just to, after I see their license, basically explain. And most of the time, this is done for most jurisdictions. But we're just trying to. I think he's just trying to put it in law right now.
Okay. Do we have any questions? All right, number 17, Representative Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what I guess what you're trying to do is de-escalate any type of situation?
Yes, that is correct. Just just being courtesy and trying to de-escalate anything that could come up, but just letting the individual know why they're being pulled over.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Proper time?
Well, it's hearing on this.
Oh, it's hearing on?
First time we heard this, same
All
as
right.
the last two. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but I don't want to give time. When we do this, most of the time, that's when somebody comes out that we didn't see. Somebody does have an issue. Just give them time for the next meeting and say, hey, something we might overlook. But anyway, no further items on the agenda. The meeting is